Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene, born May 27, 1974, also known by her initials MTG, is an American politician, businesswoman, and far-right conspiracy theorist who has served as the U.S. Representative for Georgia's 14th Congressional District since 2021. A member of the Republican Party and a strong supporter of former President Donald Trump, she was elected to Congress in 2020 following the retirement of Republican incumbent Tom Graves. Greene has promoted far-right, white supremacist, and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, including the white genocide conspiracy theory, QAnon and Pizzagate, as well as other disproven conspiracy theories such as false flag mass shootings, the Clinton body count, and multiple relating to 9/11. Before running for Congress, she advocated for executing prominent Democratic politicians. As a congresswoman, she equated the Democratic Party with Nazis and compared COVID-19 safety measures to the persecution of Jews during the Holocaust. She apologized for the latter comparison. In January 2022, Greene's personal Twitter account was permanently suspended for posting COVID-19 vaccine misinformation. During the Russo-Ukrainian War, Greene has promoted Russian propaganda and praised Vladimir Putin. A supporter of Trump's efforts to overturn his loss to Joe Biden in the 2020 presidential election, Greene has repeatedly and falsely claimed that Trump won the election in a landslide victory that was stolen from him. She called for Georgia's election results to be decertified and was among a group of Republican legislators who unsuccessfully challenged votes for Biden during the Electoral College vote count, even though federal agencies and courts overseeing the election found no evidence of electoral fraud. Greene filed articles of impeachment against Biden the day after his inauguration, alleging abuse of power. The House of Representatives voted to remove Greene from all committee roles on February 4, 2021, in response to her incendiary statements and endorsements of political violence. 11 Republicans joined the unanimous Democrats in the vote. Greene is running for re-election in 2022. Early life and education. Greene was born in Milledgeville, Georgia on May 27, 1974, the daughter of Robert Taylor. She graduated from South Forsyth High School in Cumming, Georgia, in 1992, and the University of Georgia with a Bachelor of Business Administration in 1996. In statements made during 2019, and in a House floor speech on February 4, 2021, in which she explained her position on gun rights and school shootings, Greene alluded to being affected by a September 1990 incident at her high school, in which an armed student held 53 students hostage for over 5 hours. Early career and activism. In 2002, Greene's father sold Taylor Commercial, a general contractor based in Alpharetta, Georgia that he founded, to Greene and her husband, Perry. The couple are vice president and president, respectively, of the company. Greene was listed as the chief financial officer of Taylor Commercial from 2007 to 2011, but a 2021 Atlanta Journal-Constitution investigation determined that she had no significant presence at the company. In 2011, Greene stepped down as the company's CFO and began CrossFit training. By 2012, Greene was working as a part-time coach at an Alpharetta CrossFit gym. In August 2013, she co-founded a CrossFit gym, CrossFit Passion, in Alpharetta, along with Travis Mayer, a CrossFit athlete, before leaving the business in early 2017. In a 2015 interview, Greene said that when she and Mayer founded the gym, they knew little about how to run a business. In 2021, Greene said that she became politically engaged during the 2016 Republican presidential primaries. Beginning in 2017, she wrote 59 articles as a correspondent for the now-defunct American Truth Seekers, a conspiracy news website, and beginning in January 2018, 27 articles for Law Enforcement Today, a pro-police fake news website. In 2017, Greene visited Washington, D.C. to protest against a Republican gun control compromise. Greene was a top official of the Family America Project, a conservative group founded in January 2018. She was a moderator of the organization's Facebook group, in which members posted death threats against Democrats, bigotry directed at the Obamas, and support for multiple conspiracy theories, including claims associated with the John Birch Society about the U.S. government being infiltrated by communists. In February 2019, Greene visited the U.S. Capitol and congressional offices. In a live stream video Greene posted on Facebook, she is seen outside Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's office, calling through the mail slot for Ocasio-Cortez to unlock the door and face the American citizens that you serve, as well as telling her to get rid of your diaper. She also called Ocasio-Cortez's office a daycare. When visiting the offices of Representatives Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, Greene falsely claimed that they were not official representatives because they were sworn into Congress on the Koran. In the videos, Greene said that she wanted Omar and Tlaib to instead be sworn in on the Bible and accused them of supporting Islamic law. U.S. House of Representatives elections 2020 primary election. Having originally announced her intention to run in Georgia's 7th congressional district, Greene instead began her campaign in the 6th district, where she resided on June 4, 2019. She stated her commitment to balance the federal budget and restrain Congress from using its constitutional power to spend new money into existence, adding, "If we look at our country as our household, we are going to go under foreclosure because we are overspending." Greene also criticized her expected primary opponent, former U.S. Representative Karen Handel, for supporting large omnibus spending bills and a series of electoral losses. She's lost 7 races in her entire political career. The district includes much of northwest Georgia, stretching from the Georgia side of the Chattanooga metropolitan area to the exurbs of Atlanta. Members of the House are constitutionally required to live in the state they represent, but not necessarily in the same congressional district. Hence, although Greene had long lived in Milton in the 6th district, still, she said she intended to move to the 14th if she ran there. She subsequently bought a home in nearby Paulding County, which is in the 14th. By the time she was sworn in January 2021, Greene reported having moved to Rome, also firmly in the 14th. On February 29, 2020, Greene spoke at a gun rights rally in Villano hosted by Silent No Longer, a group campaigning to make Walker County a Second Amendment sanctuary. At the rally, she held up a banner for American Patriots USA, a far-right group attempting to further its influence with Georgia Republicans. Greene posed for photos with Chester Doles, a fifth-generation Ku Klux Klansman, Grand Claliff leader, and founder of APUSA. Doles has nearly a dozen assault arrests and served 2 separate prison sentences in Maryland. Greene campaigned as a staunch supporter of President Donald Trump, but was not endorsed by him. She ran on the slogan "Save America, Stop Socialism." In the days before the primary, Facebook took down a Greene video for violating its terms of service. In the video, Greene held an AR-15-style rifle and warned Antifa groups to stay the hell out of northwest Georgia. Greene finished first in the June 9 primary. Trump tweeted, "A big winner." Because no candidate received a majority of the vote, she faced neurosurgeon John Cowan, a Trump supporter Greene labeled a Reno in a runoff election. Runoff election. General election. Greene was considered an overwhelming favorite to win the seat in the general election, as the 14th district typically votes heavily Republican. In 2017, the Cook Political Report ranked the district the 10th most Republican in the country. On September 3, 2020, Greene shared a meme to her Facebook page depicting herself holding an AR-15-style rifle next to a collage of pictures of Ocasio-Cortez, Omar and Tlaib. She wrote that it was time for strong conservative Christians to go on the offense against these socialists who want to rip our country apart. The caption under the images was "Squad's worst nightmare." Pelosi called the meme a threat of violence, and Omar demanded that it be deleted after claiming it had triggered death threats. In response to questions from Forbes about whether the meme was a threat, a Green campaign spokesperson dismissed that idea. Facebook deleted the meme the next day for violating its policies on inciting violence, prompting Green to claim that Democrats were trying to cancel her. On September 19, 2020, Green appeared at a gun rights rally in Ringgold, Georgia, where the Georgia Roman 3% Martis provided security wearing camouflage, body armor, radios, and in one case a battle axe. During the rally, Green had Chester Doles, with whom she had posed for a photo earlier in the year, ejected, and U.S. Senator Kelly Loeffler made a brief appearance. Green was expected to face Democratic IT specialist Kevin Van Ostel, but he withdrew from the race on September 11. This left Green unopposed in the general election, which she won with 74% of the vote. Van Ostel, whose name remained on the ballot, took 25%. During her victory speech, Green called Pelosi anti-American, a hypocrite, and a bitch whom we're going to kick out of Congress, and had a reporter from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution ousted from the venue after he tweeted quotes from her speech. She later mocked Van Ostel's appearance and got into an argument with former Republican Senator Jeff Flake on Twitter. In the days after the election, Green made deceptive claims that her husband Perry's Floyd County voting record revealed voter fraud, writing on social media that when her husband went to vote early, he was told he had received an absentee ballot, despite not requesting one. Floyd County Chief Elections Clerk Robert Brady told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that nothing happened to the missing ballot and that it was canceled according to procedure, adding that Perry Green signed an affidavit on October 23 and he was allowed to vote. He only voted one time. Endorsements. Prominent Republicans who supported Green in her candidacy included Donald Trump, U.S. Representatives Jim Jordan, Andy Biggs, and Matt Gaetz, Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk, and Trump's chief of staff Mark Meadows. Meadows' wife, Debbie Meadows, is the executive director of Right Women PAC, which endorsed Green and contributed $17,500 to her runoff campaign. Other donors included Barb Van Andel Gaby, the chair of board of the Heritage Foundation, and attorney L. Linwood, who later promoted conspiracy theories about the 2020 presidential election. Green also received support from the House Freedom Fund, a political action committee, and the campaign fundraising arm of the House Freedom Caucus. The Georgia Republican Party contributed $5,220 to her campaign treasury on March 2, 2020. 2022. In September 2021, the Federal Election Commission asked Green's 2022 re-election campaign treasurer, her husband, to provide information about $3.05 million of unanimized campaign contributions from undisclosed donors received in the first half of 2021. By federal law, only individual contributions under $200 are allowed to be unanimized or have donor identity withheld. Green received more donations than any other House Republican in the first 3 months of 2021. Jennifer Strahan, a businesswoman, is challenging Green in the Republican primary. Tenure. On her first day in office, Green wore a face mask onto the House floor that read "Trump won." Trump, in fact, lost the 2020 U.S. presidential election to Joe Biden. During the counting of electoral votes, Green raised an objection to counting Michigan's electoral votes. The objection was not signed by a member of the U.S. Senate and therefore was rejected. In response to the storming of the Capitol by Trump supporters on January 6, 2021, Green called for an end to violence and for support for Trump. She refused to wear a face mask while sheltering in place during the riot and during the debate to impeach Trump. She tweeted, "Democrats must be held accountable for the political violence inspired by their rhetoric." This prompted Democratic Representative Jason Crow to call her morally bankrupt, depraved, and frankly dangerous. In a series of tweets following the attack on the Capitol, Greene falsely suggested that the rioters were members of Antifa dressed as Trump supporters. Greene made these claims even though Anthony Agro, a conservative activist and close associate of hers, was one of the people who stormed the Capitol. She also retweeted a clip from Fox News host Tucker Carlson, in which Carlson, citing Revolver News, a right-wing news website, claimed that agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation might have organized and participated in the attack. On January 21, 2021, the second day of Biden's presidency, Greene filed articles of impeachment against him, alleging abuse of power. In an interview with Greg Kelly of Newsmax, she perpetuated conspiracy theories that Biden had been bought off by foreign interests. On January 27, 2021, Representative Jimmy Gomez announced he had drafted a resolution to expel Greene from the House after reports that she had previously called for violence against Democrats. Representative Jake Auchincloss also called for Greene's resignation or expulsion due to her threats of violence against fellow lawmakers. On January 28, with the revelations of Greene's threats against Democratic members of the House, Pelosi spoke of an enemy within the House of Representatives and the need to increase security measures, stating that this referred to members who want to bring guns on the floor and have threatened violence on other members of Congress, alluding to Greene and other Republican representatives. Pelosi also criticized the House Republican leadership for placing Greene on the Education Committee after Greene had questioned the authenticity of deadly school shootings around the country. On January 29, 2021, Representatives Nikema Williams and Sarah Jacobs introduced a resolution to censure Greene for making threatening comments to her colleagues and to call for her resignation. On March 19, Gomez formally introduced his resolution to expel Greene with the support of 72 Democrats and no Republicans. It is considered unlikely to gain the required two-thirds majority needed to pass. The Washington Post reported in May 2021 that two of its reporters observed Greene aggressively confront Ocasio-Cortez outside the House chamber, loudly asking why she supported Antifa and Black Lives Matter, which Greene falsely characterized as terrorists. Ocasio-Cortez did not respond and called on House leadership to ensure that Congress remains a safe, civil place for all members and staff. Later in May, Greene voted against the January 6 Commission, a proposed commission which would have investigated the attack on the Capitol. During a speech she made against establishing a commission, Greene called for justice for Ashley Babbitt, a Trump supporter who was fatally shot by a Capitol police officer when she stormed the Capitol and attempted to break into the House chamber. Also in May, Greene and Gaetz initiated a nationwide America First tour, beginning in the Villages, Florida. Throughout the tour, the two repeated unsubstantiated claims of fraud purported to have occurred during the 2020 election. Later in July, a scheduled rally in Laguna Hills, California, was canceled after the venue withdrew. In June 2021, Greene was one of 21 House Republicans to vote against a resolution to give the Congressional Gold Medal to police officers who defended the U.S. Capitol on January 6. When Pelosi announced the creation of the House Select Committee on the January 6 attack, Greene declared her interest in being seated on it. In August 2021, after the House Select Committee on the January 6 attack requested that over 30 telecommunications companies retained phone records related to the attack, including those of Greene and several other members of Congress, she promised that companies that complied would be shut down. In February 2022, Greene appeared as a surprise guest speaker at the America First Political Action Conference hosted by white nationalist Nick Fuentes, where Fuentes expressed support for the January 6 attack and for Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Greene later claimed not to have known Fuentes previously, and Fuentes said that Milo Yiannopoulos had arranged her appearance. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy said that such ideology will never be tolerated in the Republican Party, but he also said that Greene would face no punishment for her participation. Committee assignments. Greene was briefly a member of the Committee on the Budget and the Committee on Education and Labor, before she was removed from all committee assignments on February 4, 2021 for incendiary remarks she had made before her election. Since February 4, 2021, none before February 4, 2021. Committee on the Budget, Committee on Education and Labor, Caucus memberships, Election Integrity Caucus, Freedom Caucus, Republican Study Committee, Second Amendment Caucus, Political Positions. After she won the 2020 Republican primary runoff election, Greene wrote on Twitter, "The GOP establishment, the media, and the radical left spent months and millions of dollars attacking me. She has expressed support for Donald Trump and declared her intention to push Republicans further to the right." Abortion. Greene opposes abortion, calling it the worst scar a woman can carry for the rest of her life. In videos apparently recorded between 2017 to 2019, Greene said that abortion and Planned Parenthood are two factors holding back minorities in the country, and in an August 2020 interview with Fox News, she indicated her support for defunding Planned Parenthood. On April 15, 2021, Greene and Boebert cast two lone votes against a bill to reauthorize the National Marrow Donor Program. Explaining her vote, Greene falsely claimed, "Nothing in this bill prevents the funding of aborted fetal tissue by taxpayers." In 2021, Greene falsely claimed that the Plan B contraceptive kills a baby in the womb. Plan B actually prevents ovulation and thus prevents pregnancy instead of terminating a pregnancy. COVID-19. In September 2020, Greene wrote on Twitter that children should not wear masks, calling recommendations by the Centers for Disease and Control and Prevention and other public health officials unhealthy for their psychological, emotional, and educational growth and emasculating for boys. She called restrictions imposed in the U.S. Capitol in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, including face mask requirements, tyrannical control by Democrats. She opposes any form of mandatory mask wearing, compulsory vaccination, or lockdowns in response to the pandemic. After Greene called masks oppressive, National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Director Anthony Fauci responded that her stance was very disturbing given the data on the seriousness of the outbreak. Greene and other Republicans refused to wear masks in a secured room with other members of Congress during the storming of the Capitol in January 2021. Afterward, it was reported that several Democratic representatives tested positive for the virus, including Bonnie Watson-Coleman, Pramila Jayapal, and Brad Schneider. Greene refused to get a COVID-19 vaccine, claiming there was no reason to because she is perfectly healthy. By March 2021, the private sector had begun efforts to create vaccine passports to better enable those who had been inoculated to resume public gatherings, and some states and the federal government were considering such plans, though the Biden administration said participation would not be compulsory. On Facebook and Twitter, Greene suggested the plan might be Biden's mark of the beast, a reference to the Book of Revelation, echoing a far-right conspiracy theory that getting vaccinated is equivalent to pledging allegiance to the devil. She added, "It's still fascism or communism, whatever you want to call it, but it's coming from private companies. So, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism." Days later, Greene introduced a bill in the House, the We Will Not Comply Act, which sought to ban vaccine passports, as well as the Fire-Fauci Act, which would eliminate. According to August 2021 financial disclosures, Greene has been fined many times for not wearing a mask on the House floor. The first occasion was on May 18, 2021, when she was fined $500. 2 days later, on a podcast hosted by evangelical commentator David Brody, Greene called Pelosi mentally ill and said, Greene said she incurred a second fine of $2,500 after she again entered the House floor without a mask, and she dubbed Pelosi's speaker maskhole in response. The day after the podcast, she defended her comments, adding, Any rational Jewish person doesn't like what's happening with overbearing mask mandates and overbearing vaccine policies. Her comments drew widespread criticism, including from leading Republican representatives and the Jewish community. On June 14, Greene publicly apologized for her comments after a private visit to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. 3 weeks later, she compared Biden's suggestion to provide door-to-door vaccinations to medical brown shirts and said, "You can't force people to be part of the human experiment." By the end of October 2021, she had been fined 20 times for not wearing a mask on the House floor. According to House rules, subsequent fines were $2,500 each. Thus, with the 20th occasion, she had been fined a total of $48,000. On June 4, 2021, Greene sent Biden a letter calling for an investigation into FOSI over his statements on the origin of SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. In the letter, she called COVID-19 a manufactured plague caused by a Chinese-made virus. Greene urged Biden to respond to the letter by June 31. June has only 30 days. Days later, she suggested that only a bioweapon could explain the existence and spread of the virus. Greene also said that she did not support the use of gain-of-function research to identify emerging diseases and develop vaccines and treatments. In July 2021, Greene dismissed the COVID-19 variants, including the Delta variant, saying, "No one cares." She also posted misinformation about the virus, saying it is not dangerous for non-obese people and those under 65. When a reporter informed Greene that non-obese and young people were also dying from the virus and asked her whether she bore responsibility for keeping people in Georgia safe, Greene laughed and said, "I think people's responsibility is their own." At an August 2021 fundraiser in Alabama, Greene claimed that Biden would be sending one of his police state. At the same event, Greene claimed that the virus was FOSI's experiment. When NBC News contacted Greene's office to confirm that a video of the event was genuine, a spokesman for her responded, "These claims are ridiculous and yet another conspiracy theory from the left." On August 12, Greene admitted that COVID-19 is spreading, but falsely said that hospitals were not overwhelmed with afflicted patients, and added, "We're human. We can't live forever. We're going to catch all kinds of diseases and illnesses and other viruses." Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Greene is a strong supporter of former President Donald Trump. On January 4, 2021, she called for the results of the presidential election in Georgia to be decertified. After Trump's second impeachment, she introduced an article of impeachment against Biden on January 21, the day after he took office. No one co-sponsored it. During an interview with Steve Bannon on July 7, 2021, Greene rejected a conspiracy theory that suggested Trump would be reinstated as president in August 2021. On October 22, 2021, Greene purchased shares of Digital World Acquisition Corp., a special-purpose acquisition company that had just merged with Trump Media and Technology Group for the purpose of funding Trump's planned social media app, Truth Social. Foreign policy. During a speech at the 2021 Conservative Political Action Conference, Greene adamantly opposed foreign aid, saying, "I wanted to take my regular, normal person, normal, everyday American values, which is we love our country. We believe our hard-earned tax dollars should just go for America, not for China, Russia, the Middle East." This remark about Guam, which is a U.S. territory whose residents are U.S. citizens, prompted Guam delegate Michael San Nicolas to offer Greene Chamorro chip cookies in what he called cookie diplomacy. Guam Governor Lou Leon Guerrero told the Guam Daily Post that her office would be more than happy to send Representative Greene's office a copy of Destiny's Landfall: A History of Guam. In March 2021, Greene was one of 14 House Republicans to vote against a measure condemning the Myanmar coup d'etat for reasons reported to be unclear. In June 2021, Greene was one of 49 House Republicans to vote to repeal the authorization for use of military force against Iraq resolution of 2002. In July 2021, Greene stated on Bannon's show that, if she had the authority to, she would kick out every Chinese person in the United States who is loyal to the Chinese Communist Party and impose strict tariffs on China. Also in July, Greene voted against the Bipartisan Allies Act, which would increase the number of special immigrant visas for Afghan allies of the U.S. military during its invasion of Afghanistan by 8,000, while also reducing some application requirements that caused long application backlogs. The bill passed in the House by a vote of 407-16. Throughout the Russo-Ukrainian war, Greene has promoted Russian propaganda and praised Vladimir Putin. During the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, she criticized the corrupt Ukrainian government and argued against sending Ukraine weapons. Gun rights. At a September 2020 gun rights rally in Ringgold, Georgia, Greene said she would always protect gun owners' rights and would not vote for any laws making it harder for people to possess guns. She said, "The government will never tell me how many guns I can own and how many bullets I am allowed to fire if someone were to attack me or my kids." In June 2021, Greene introduced a bill to abolish the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. The bill also sought to provide monetary grants to the families of Border Patrol agents killed as a result of Operation Fast and Furious. Infrastructure. In November 2021, Greene said that any Republican who supported the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act was a traitor to our party, a traitor to their voters, and a traitor to our donors. She called the $1.02 trillion bill Biden's communist takeover of America. Greene criticized the 13 House Republicans who voted for the bill as American job and energy killers and derided them as China first and America last. Fred Upton, one of the 13, said that he received over 1,000 calls, including death threats, after Greene publicized their office phone numbers on Twitter. LGBT rights. On February 2, 2021, Greene co-sponsored the Old Glory Only Act, a bill to ban U.S. embassies from flying pride flags. 2 days later, she said she was censored by Twitter for absolutely believing with all my heart that God's creation is He created them male and female. On February 24, 2021, Greene tried to block the Equality Act while it was being debated on the House floor, saying that it would destroy God's creation and violate everything we hold dear in God's creation. She proposed replacing it with a bill that would exempt nonprofit organizations, allow people to sue the federal government if their religious rights are violated, and prevent trans women and girls from participating in women's sports. After floor debate on the bill that day, Representative Marie Newman, whose congressional office is directly across from Greene's, displayed a transgender pride flag outside her office. In response, Greene displayed a transphobic poster outside her office reading, "There are TWO genders, male and female, trust the science." Newman has a transgender daughter whom Greene called Newman's biological son. In April 2021, Greene supported a bill by Representative Mary Miller that would bar schools from allowing transgender students to use facilities such as bathrooms and locker rooms that correspond to their gender identity. In June 2021, during an interview with Bannon, Greene called transgender women men playing dress-up and literally having an identity crisis, saying, "They never will be women, and I refuse to recognize them that way." Later in June, she said that schools teaching about LGBT people is mental/emotional child abuse. Race, religion, and immigration. Science. Greene rejects the scientific consensus that climate change is caused primarily by human activity, explaining her position as maybe perhaps we live on a ball that rotates around the sun, that flies through the universe, and maybe our climate just changes. She has also said that she does not believe the scientific fact of evolution, calling it a type of so-called science and saying, "I don't believe in evolution. I believe in God." Political violence and extremism. In an interview with gun activist Chris Dorr on October 27, 2020, a week before Election Day, Greene told viewers, "The only way you get your freedoms back is it's earned with the price of blood." On January 29, 2021, the New York Times detailed Greene's support for and past ties with extremist militia groups, including the Three Percenters and the Oath Keepers. Both groups had members participate in the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Rhetoric involving killing of opponents. Greene has called for the execution of Democratic politicians and FBI agents, whom she alleged were part of the deep state against Trump. In a January 2019 Facebook video, Greene said Pelosi is guilty of treason and that treason is a crime punishable by death. Greene made the video to promote a petition she started on We the People to impeach Pelosi for treason, a remedy that does not exist in the U.S. Constitution due to her opposition to Trump's proposed border wall, as well as alleged support for sanctuary city policies. More than 140,000 people signed the petition. In February 2019 videos live streamed on Facebook, Greene visited Pelosi's office and suggested that Pelosi would either be killed or imprisoned for treason. She then suggested that Representative Maxine Waters had also committed treason. In 2018 and 2019, Greene's Facebook account expressed support for the execution of leading Democrats, including Pelosi, Barack Obama, and Hillary Clinton, as well as support for the execution of FBI agents. For example, in response to an April 2018 post asking, "Now do we get to hang them?" meaning H and O, Greene's account responded, "Stage is being set. Players are being put in place. We must be patient. This must be done perfectly or liberal judges would let them off." Greene did not deny the authenticity of the reported content, but stated that the CNN article was focused on my time before running for political office, that teams of people manage my pages, and that CNN had reported on content that did not represent my views. Advocacy based on conspiracy theories. After the first round of voting in the 2020 Republican primary election, but before the Republican primary runoff election, Politico re-released videos Greene published in which she expressed racist, anti-Semitic, and Islamophobic views. Her support for bigotry and the QAnon conspiracy theory in the videos were condemned, including by conservatives, such as McCarthy, and Republican Whip Steve Scalise, but they took no action against her, with McCarthy remaining neutral in the runoff. Some of Greene's social media postings and publications remained online through her 2020 campaign. After they drew attention in January 2021, she deleted them. Greene has promoted multiple baseless conspiracy theories, including the claim that Clinton is responsible for a series of murders, that Democratic Party elites are responsible for a satanic child sex trafficking ring, that the government orchestrated the 2017 Las Vegas shooting, that the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, Florida, was. Greene also promoted a false anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that the 2018 Camp Fire, a deadly wildfire in California, was caused by space lasers owned by the Rothschild family. Pizzagate and QAnon. Greene has said there are links between Hillary Clinton and pedophilia and human sacrifice, and in 2017 speculated that the Pizzagate conspiracy theory is real. Reviving the Clinton kill list conspiracy theory, she claimed Clinton murdered her political enemies. In a video posted to YouTube in 2018, Greene suggested John F. Kennedy Jr.'s death in a plane crash in 1999. In January 2021, Media Matters found a 2018 Facebook post that showed Greene agreeing with a conspiracy theory known as Frazzledrip, which asserts that there is a video of Hillary Clinton and her assistant Huma Abedin murdering a child in a satanic ritual, and that Clinton later ordered a hit on a police officer to cover it up. Greene dismissed Media Matters findings as the work of communist sick bloggers. Greene supported the debunked far-right QAnon conspiracy theory, which she discovered through columnist Liz Crokin. In a 2017 video, she said that many of the things said on Fortune by the eponymous Q, whom she called a patriot, have really proven to be true. She said, "There's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take this global cabal of Satan-worshipping pedophiles out, and I think we have the president to do it." According to her author biography page, Greene wrote 59 articles for the now-defunct conspiracy theory website American Truth Seekers, including one linking the Democratic Party to child sex. When she ran for the House of Representatives in 2020, she distanced herself from that conspiracy theory and said she had not referred to Q or QAnon during her campaign. She said she no longer had a connection with QAnon and mentioned having found misinformation. False flag claims. In a 2017 video posted to Facebook, Greene expressed doubt that the perpetrator of the 2017 Las Vegas shooting, a large-scale incident she believes was intended as an attack on the right to bear arms, acted alone. She claimed that the August 2017 Charlottesville white nationalist rally, in which a counter-protester was killed in a car attack, was an inside job. She said the 2019 Christchurch mosque shootings in New Zealand were a false flag for the same end. In a 2018 interview, Greene expressed support for a conspiracy theory that a plane did not hit the Pentagon during the September 11 attacks. She referred to the so-called plane that crashed into the Pentagon and said that it's odd there's never any evidence shown for a plane in the Pentagon, despite an abundance of evidence. On another occasion, at a conservative conference in 2018, Greene said 9/11 was part of a U.S. government plot. Following an August 2020 Media Matters report on her comments, Greene wrote on Twitter, "Some people claimed a missile hit the Pentagon. I now know that is not correct." She has also claimed that Democratic National Committee staff member Seth Rich was murdered by the M-13 gang on Obama's behalf. According to Greene, Obama is secretly a Muslim. In actuality, he is a Christian. In a February 2019 interview, Greene suggested that Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg had been replaced in public appearances by a body double. A QAnon-related conspiracy theory claimed that Ginsburg had died years earlier, and that Democrats used a body double to conceal her death so they could hold onto her Supreme Court seat during Trump's presidency. Ginsburg actually died on September 18, 2020, during Trump's presidency, and Trump appointed Amy Coney Barrett as her replacement. School shootings. In a 2018 Facebook post found by Media Matters in January 2021, Greene claimed that the 2018 Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, Florida, was an organized false flag operation. In another post, she claimed that the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting was also a false flag operation. In another Facebook post later in 2018, she wrote, "I am told that Nancy Pelosi tells Hillary Clinton several times a month that we need another school shooting in order to persuade the public to want strict gun control." Parkland shooting survivors such as David Hogg and Cameron Kasky, as well as Fred Guttenberg, whose daughter was killed in the Parkland shooting, condemned Greene's remarks and demanded that she resign from Congress. Greene called Hogg, who advocates gun control, "Little Hitler," and in a 2019 interview with a gun rights group, denounced him as an idiot who is trained like a dog. A March 2019 video shows Greene following and taunting Hogg, accusing him of using children for his cause. After the encounter, she called him a coward and falsely claimed he is funded by George Soros. The website Snopes found the video uploaded by Guttenberg and others was the second incident in which Greene targeted Hogg. Both occurred on March 25, 2019, and Greene live-streamed the first to her Facebook account. The second video was uploaded to Greene's YouTube account in January 2020. In January 2021, A Green staffer threatened to have WRCV-TV reporter Meredith Aldiss arrested after Aldiss tried to ask Greene a question at a town hall event about her harassment of Hogg. Soon after these comments came to light, Representative Jahana Hayes, whose district includes Sandy Hook, circulated a letter to the House Republican leadership urging them not to seat Greene on the Education Committee. Hogg called for Greene to be expelled from Congress, saying that McCarthy tacitly supported Greene by not taking actions to sanction her. Antisemitism, white genocide conspiracy theory. In 2018, Greene shared a video with Open Gates, the forced collective suicide of European nations, repeating the anti-Semitic white genocide conspiracy theory that Zionists are conspiring to flood Europe with migrants to replace the native white populations. The video, uncovered by Media Matters, said that those supporting refugees are using immigrant pawns to commit the biggest genocide in human history. In sharing the video, Greene wrote that this is what the UN wants all over the world. The white genocide conspiracy theory has been associated with white supremacy and espouses the unsubstantiated belief that white people, in a great replacement, will eventually become a minority in Europe and North America due to declining white birth rates and high rates of immigration. Greene has also falsely called George Soros, a Jewish businessman and Holocaust survivor, a Nazi. She promoted the conspiracy theory that Soros' family collaborated with the Nazis in Hungary and is trying to continue what was not finished. Campfire conspiracy theory. In January 2021, media outlets reported that in November 2018, Greene's Facebook account shared a conspiracy theory about the Camp Fire, a deadly wildfire in 2018 in California. The Rothschild family has been the subject of numerous anti-Semitic conspiracy theories since at least the 19th century. The theories allege they are an international cabal of Jewish bankers. For these comments, Greene was condemned by Jewish legislators, including Jacobs and Jackie Rosen, as well as various Jewish groups, such as the Republican Jewish Coalition, the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, and Christians United for Israel, with the latter group stating that Greene had promoted wild anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Meanwhile, Representative Jimmy Gomez and the Jewish Democratic Council of America called for Greene to be expelled from Congress. In response, Solarin, a solar energy company, noted several fundamental problems with the conspiracy theory, including that its space-based solar power system did not beam power using the visible light part of the electromagnetic spectrum, and so could not be observed as the blue beams of light referenced by the theory, that the system does not use lasers, and responses. Within Congress, Democrats have condemned Greene's incendiary statements and promotion of conspiracy theories. Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz introduced a motion to remove Greene from her committee assignments, saying that Greene's behavior is appalling and has helped fuel domestic terrorism, endangered lives of her colleagues, and brought shame on the entire House of Representatives. On February 1, 2021, House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer gave McCarthy and other Republican House leaders an ultimatum: unless they stripped Greene of her committee seats within 72 hours, the Democrats would bring Wasserman Schultz's motion before the full House. In turn, McCarthy called some of Greene's comments deeply disturbing. With Republican officials under mounting pressure to denounce Greene, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell issued a statement to the Hill in which he attacked loony lies and conspiracy theories as a cancer for the Republican Party. The statement did not name Greene, but reporting described the statement as unmistakably about and clearly targeted at Greene. McConnell confirmed it the following day, referring to his comments on Greene and adding, "I think I adequately spoke out about how I feel." His statement said somebody who suggested that perhaps no airplane hit the Pentagon on 9/11, that horrifying school shootings were pre-staged, and that the Clintons crashed JFK Jr.'s airplane is not living in reality. In response, Greene tweeted that the Republican Party's only problem are weak Republicans who only know how to lose gracefully. After McConnell's statement, several other Republican senators voiced criticisms of Greene. Mitt Romney said that the Republican Party's big tent is not large enough to both accommodate conservatives and kooks. Kevin Cramer said that he would have a hard time supporting. Both Florida senators condemned the idea that the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting might have not have been real. Marco Rubio said that anyone arguing it was a false flag is either deranged or a sadist. Greene used the criticism for a fundraising push, saying, "Democrats are trying to expel me from Congress and telling her supporters to stand with MTG." McCarthy met with Greene on February 2 and then held meetings with the House GOP Steering Committee, which is responsible for committee assignments for Republican members of the House. No decision was made that day, but Greene was a major topic of discussion for the Republican Congressional Caucus meeting on February 3, along with the fate of Representative Liz Cheney after her vote in favor of Trump's second impeachment. Greene retained Trump's support, which presented McCarthy with the problem of having to manage the expectations of the Republican Party's various factions in dealing with Cheney and Greene. Removal from House committee assignments. As controversy grew about her previous comments, Greene removed her old social media posts and spoke before the House Republican Conference on February 3, 2021, to state that her social media content did not reflect who she is, prompting a standing ovation. In lieu of total removal from her assignments, McCarthy stated that he had suggested Greene be moved to the Small Business Committee. That day, the Democratic-controlled House Rules Committee passed Wasserman Schultz's motion to remove Greene from her committee assignments. McCarthy indicated his conference would not act against Greene. Pelosi chastised McCarthy for acquiescing to Greene, referring to him as McCarthy QCA in reference to the QAnon conspiracy theory. On February 4, the full House voted to remove Greene from her committee assignments. The vote was 230 to 199, with 11 Republicans joining all Democrats. After the vote, Greene described herself as freed, calling the committees part of basically a tyrannically controlled government. She is unlikely to be able to serve on a committee for the rest of her term in the 117th Congress. Outside Congress, the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations and the Republican Jewish Coalition condemned Greene's statements. On February 9, 2021, Sean Holmes, the father of a 10-year-old boy with Down syndrome, confronted Greene at a Whitfield County Republican Party meeting. Asked about her use of the word retard to refer to individuals with the syndrome, Greene said, "I guess it was a slang word. You can actually look it up in the dictionary," adding, "I do apologize for that being offensive to anyone." In February 2021, CrossFit attempted to distance itself from Greene, who once owned an affiliated gym and is an avid CrossFit spokesperson Andrew Weinstein told BuzzFeed News, "CrossFit supports respectful fact-based political dialogue to address our common challenges, and we strongly oppose the loathsome and dangerous lies attributed to Ms. Greene." On May 21, 2021, Common Cause filed an FEC complaint against Greene for an alleged. In the ad, she calls on viewers to fight back now, before it's too late, before a separate voice-over asks them to contribute to the PAC seconds thereafter. During her 2020 campaign and the beginning of her first term in Congress, Greene became one of the most recognizable names in the GOP. On January 29, 2021, Greene stated she had raised $1.06 million amid criticism from Democratic lawmakers. In a February 2021 poll by YouGov shortly after her removal from her committee assignments, 45% of surveyed adult U.S. citizens viewed her unfavorably, 33% didn't know, and 21% viewed her favorably. In a mid-May 2021 poll by Morning Consult, the majority of GOP voters surveyed had either never heard of or had no opinion on Greene. Among those who had an opinion, Greene was seen overall more favorably than unfavorably. As of July 2021, opinions on Greene among her constituents in the 14th District are split. In his 2021 memoir, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, a Republican, denounced Greene for her baseless, factless, absurd, and dangerous rhetoric, including her support of QAnon. Twitter. Greene's Twitter account was locked for 12 hours on January 17, 2021. A Twitter spokesperson said that Greene was sanctioned for multiple violations of our civic integrity policy. Twitter's action was based on a company policy it had used to remove thousands of QAnon-related accounts after the storming of the United States Capitol. Before the suspension, Greene's posts included false claims about voting fraud and statements blaming electoral officials in Georgia for their failure to act on such claims. Upon returning to Twitter, she criticized the company. Contrary to how highly you think of yourself and your moral platitude, you are not the judge of humanity, God is. She was later suspended again from Twitter for 12 hours in the late evening of March 18, 2021, the ban expiring around midday the following day. Twitter later said it was an error, and access to her account was restored. Her account was briefly suspended in error a second time by an automated system on April 5. As of March 19, 2021, Greene was barred from blocking anyone on her public Twitter or any other social media account while in office, and was forced to pay $10,000 to cover legal fees for Midas Touch, whose co-founder says it will donate the money to two nonprofits. This resulted from an out-of-court settlement between Greene and Midas Touch after Midas Touch sued Greene for violating the Political Action Committee's. In July 2021, Twitter placed Greene's account in read-only mode, a form of temporary suspension, for 12 hours after she claimed the COVID-19 virus was not dangerous. In August, Twitter suspended her account for a week for spreading misinformation regarding vaccines and masks. On January 2, 2022, Greene's personal Twitter account was permanently suspended for posting COVID-19 vaccine misinformation. Her official congressional account remains active. The next day, she was suspended from Facebook for 24 hours for similar violations. 2022 primary ballot challenges. In early 2022, Greene said that under a provision of a state law, several Georgia electors had filed papers seeking to remove her from the 2022 Republican primary ballot as unqualified for office. Electors alleged she had been involved in assisting the 2021 United States Capitol attack. On April 1, 2022, Greene filed a federal lawsuit in which she vigorously denied the allegations and sought to have the law blocked as unconstitutional. The law allows a candidate to be removed from a ballot after review by an administrative law judge and the Georgia Secretary of State. A federal judge denied her challenge on April 18, requiring her to provide testimony 4 days later. In popular culture, on January 30, 2021, the first episode of Saturday Night Live's 46th season featured a cold open where a caricature of Greene, played by Cecily Strong, espoused debunked conspiracy theories and discussed how she told her supporters that they should physically murder Nancy Pelosi. After Greene opposed the Equality Act, her character featured again in February on the Weekend Update sketch, wherein she misspelled science, compared herself to Pennywise the Dancing Clown, pulled a handgun on co-anchor Colin Jost, and claimed to be possessed by a demon. On June 15, 2021, after Greene's visit to the Holocaust Museum, talk show host Jimmy Kimmel called Greene human excrement, Klan mom, and the sorriest excuse for a congresswoman we've ever had, comparing her understanding of the Holocaust to that of a sixth grader and digitally imposing a toothbrush mustache over her apology video. Daily Show host Trevor Noah called her your crazy aunts, even crazier friend, who has become notorious for saying absolutely anything with zero shame. The View co-host Joy Behar called Greene's apology as empty as her head and jokingly remarked, "Wait till she hears about slavery." On February 9, 2022, Greene triggered a wave of jokes after talking about Gaspetro police guarding the Capitol building. She had confused the cold Spanish soup with the Gestapo. In April 2022, Kimmel said of Greene, "Where is Will Smith when you really need him?" in response to Greene accusing Republicans who supported then Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson of being pro-pedophile. Greene accused Kimmel of threatening violence against her and tweeted that she contacted the Capitol Police. Greene had previously refused to honor the Capitol Police in June 2021 when she voted against rewarding them with the Congressional Gold Medal for defending the Capitol building during the 2021 United States Capitol attack. On April 8, Nick Dyer, Greene's spokesman, said that threats against Congresswoman Greene invoking Jimmy Kimmel have been coming into our office. Personal life. Greene married Perry Greene in 1995 while in college. They have 3 children. Greene rebaptized in 2011 into North Point Community Church, an evangelical megachurch network based in Alpharetta, in a baptism published in an online video. Greene speaks often about her faith and has said that she wants to bring my faith and my family values to Washington. Greene's professed conservative social values have led to charges of hypocrisy in relation to allegations of marital infidelity that surfaced in 2020. According to ABC affiliate WSB-TV in Atlanta, in May 2021, Greene broke Georgia law by claiming 2 homestead tax exemptions on her properties, an older home and one she bought in the 14th Congressional District. When she ran for office, only one exemption may legally be claimed. Greene responded that the issue was paperwork, which is being taken care of. Explanatory notes.